Go to WPKYonline.com, but you better hurry. You never know how long each deal will last.
Local businesses have supported us in every regard. Now it's our turn to support them.
At the Edge Media Group, we believe that 2021 will be the start of the greatest comeback of all time. You truly made a difference in 2020 as you chose to support local and to rally behind our local businesses, clubs, organizations, and communities. We choose hope. And we're asking you to join us to motivate, inspire, and support others as we seek to not only survive, but to actually thrive. We believe that our communities can make the comeback stronger than the setback. It starts with supporting local. It is sustained by being positive and extending kindness. Please continue your extra efforts to support local. And thank you from the Edge Media Group for being a part of the greatest comeback of all time. You are making a difference.
The Edge Media Group encourages you to support local. Be sure to post what you're doing to show your support. #SupportLocal.
Here's something you should know.
Caldwell Medical Center has now announced its move to their Phase 1C COVID-19 vaccinations. Vaccination appointments are available now while still prioritizing the 60-plus population. Phase 1C includes anyone 60 years of age or older, anyone age 16 or older with the CDC highest risk of COVID-19 risk conditions, and all essential workers. Caldwell Medical Center reminds you, since they will be using the Moderna vaccine, residents must be 18 years of age or older to be vaccinated. Appointments for COVID-19 vaccines with the Caldwell Medical Center can be made by calling 270-365-0428. They do remind you walk-in appointments will not be accepted. That number, 270-365-0428.
1580 103.3 WPKY. We care about our community.
Goodwin Insurance Agency and Woodall Agency have great news. Effective January 1st, they have joined forces to provide even more options for all your insurance needs. Together, they provide the best prices and coverage from top-rated insurance companies and insure all lines of insurance. See Tori Hammett or Fred Foltz, or go to insurewithgoodwin.com for more information. Don't pay too much for your insurance. Let them shop for you and save today.
It's a barn.
It's a market with local produce.
It's a cafe with subs, pizza, and more.
It's the Country Barn, Garden, and Farm Market in Fairview under the Jefferson Davis Monument.
Your chance to bid online for $150 gift certificate happens all this week.
For the Country Barn experience, go to WPKYonline.com and click on Big Deals for more info and to bid.
Local businesses have supported us in every regard. Now it's our turn to support them.
At the Edge Media Group, we believe that 2021 will be the start of the greatest comeback of all time. You truly made a difference in 2020 as you chose to support local and to rally behind our local businesses, clubs, organizations, and communities. We choose hope. And we're asking you to join us to motivate, inspire, and support others as we seek to not only survive, but to actually thrive. We believe that our communities can make the comeback stronger than the setback. It starts with supporting local. It is sustained by being positive and extending kindness. Please continue your extra efforts to support local. And thank you from the Edge Media Group for being a part of the greatest comeback of all time. You are making a difference.
The Edge Media Group encourages you to support local. Be sure to post what you're doing to show your support. #SupportLocal.
It's time for your SportsEdge.com Sideline Report with Todd Griffin. Talking sports and more here on 1580 103.3 WPKY and worldwide at WPKYonline.com. Here's your host, Todd Griffin.
Good morning, everyone. The Sideline Report is on the air from 1035 West Main Street in Princeton. Thanks for tuning in this morning, as always, here on a Thursday at WPKY. Got a big show lined up today. A little bit later on, LPGA Tour Pro and Princeton's own Ncaa Talley will be joining us on the show. But batting leadoff for us today is Kevin Patton. He's a sports writer for the Henderson Gleaner. And, Kevin, it's a busy time for sports guys right now.
Absolutely. Games every night all over the place. So it's a fun time of the year, though. It's one of my favorite times of the year, for sure.
Well, and we just had regional wrestling last Saturday up at Union County, and I think for a lot of us, that was as close to normal as we've seen in a long time.
Absolutely. Gym probably over half full. A lot of those are competitors, not a ton of fans in there, when you take out coaches and competitors, but still there were several, and it felt like almost normal. At Union County the other day, I was like, this is kind of different, and it's very nice. It was kind of nice to see, and I really feel like if you can conduct a wrestling tournament safely, I really think we can do a lot of things. There's not much more contact going on than what you see at a wrestling tournament. But it's good to be a part of that, and it's been that way with the 6th District tournament up here in Henderson. Kind of opened up a little more for what they had been doing during the regular season, and with crowds and such. I think capacity was at 25%, but it felt a lot more than that, and just kind of easing our way back into some regular high school sporting events instead of just having a handful of fans at the games.
Yeah, we've been used to empty gyms and those kind of things. So the fact that there are people there, it's kind of, well, I don't want to say unique because that's the way it used to be, but after a year without it, you kind of realize how important the fans and having people at an event, how important that is.
Sure, absolutely. And it just makes the atmosphere so much better. It's been that way with the district tournaments here this week. It's, had small student sections every night, and just, kind of a little more normal, and, and they just add atmosphere to the games where, most of the season's been played in quiet. So, other than coaches, you hear coaches screaming across the way. So it's been kind of good.
Now, we did still see, fans wearing the mask and trying to social distance as best they could. It was a little unique, though, because a little different setup in the gym with 2 mats in the main gym, and then there was another mat over in the auxiliary gym, which kind of kept us hopping a little bit.
Right. Well, everything not in the same location, but it was good. I thought it was good, and obviously the format different for the state tournament as well, with an extra round in there to try to reduce the number of competitors at the state meet. Part of that's the facility reason, because the horse park was not available in 2 weeks for the state tournament. But it's I think as far as the wrestling goes, they made the best of the situation, and this is a 1-year deal. Hopefully next year things will be back to normal.
It was a pretty good wrestling day for Caldwell County's wrestlers. They have 7 headed to the semi-state this weekend. But what about that Union County wrestling program? I don't recall any similar regional championship streaks to the one like they're on right now.
Yeah, 18 in a row now, and no end in sight to that, to be honest. Just a great program. They've qualified 13 for the state meet, 13 out of the 14 weight classes, and 7 region champions, and that's for the last, 5, 6, 7 years. That's what they've done, and it's amazing, really, to just continue to do what they're doing, and they will obviously have a chance to win another state championship. I think would be their 6th in a row, or 5th. I lose track. See,
it's a long streak.
After a while, it's like, okay, I have to count. But yeah, it's incredible what they've done, and it's not, I don't think there's a secret there. It's just, I think part of it's the tradition, and kids want to be a part of that. They have, the depth is huge for them. I wrote about from Saturday's event, from the Saturday's regional. I wrote about Quentin Cox, who won the region title at 162 pounds. He's a senior, and he's never cracked the lineup until this year. And he's a guy that's probably going to contend for a state title. And, at least he's going to probably be a state placer for sure, and probably finish high. won the region title, and is weighted behind state champions, his whole career to get a chance to compete. And it's just a sign of their depth. When you got a guy that's probably for 2 years set in the stands who probably could have placed at the state meet, so they've probably got other guys like that, that are younger now that are just waiting their turn. And that's how you build a good program. And their coaching is outstanding as well with Robert Irvin, and his staff are top notch. And, it's incredible really for, especially for a school that size, because they're competing against everybody. It's not wrestling like most of the other sports in the state, not classified. So it's, and they're the best in the state. I mean, they've clearly established themselves as that. And it's, and they take a lot of pride in it. It's a lot of community pride and support for the wrestling program. It's very unique.
Definitely a numbers game, though, for Union County, because were there very many finals matches that didn't have a Union County wrestler in it Saturday?
No. I think there were 3, maybe. Did they have 3, I'm thinking? Something like that. So they're, and that's what they do at the state meet. Last year I don't remember last year. It was ridiculous how many guys they had in the finals last year, in the state finals. So it's, that's part of their success too, is just that depth and just having quality guys in every weight class.
Now, my understanding is that the top 4 at the region typically get to go to the state tournament. We mentioned that can't happen this year, but I do think the top 4 in each weight class are still going to be qualified as state qualifiers.
That's correct. They'll all be in this first round of the state tournament in Apollo on Saturday. So but only 2 will go on to the next round, to I guess what you consider the state finals. So you're going to have, I think you would have 8 participants in each weight class this week, and then you would have 8 again next week, I think, if my math is correct. So, it changes, and the team totals carry forward from this weekend to next. So it changes the way everything's done. I know some of the Union County folks were kind of upset that it may hurt their chances to win a state championship, because some of the other sectionals or semi-states or whatever you want to call them are not as strong as ours. The first region is probably the strongest in the state, or they feel that way anyway. And so, they may not get as many guys to the finals as they would normally. I talked to Robert Irvin about that a little bit on Saturday, and he said, just go wrestle and everything else takes care of itself.
Well, and the semi-state has apparently become, though, a single elimination wrestling tournament, because if you lose early, with only the top 2 going on to the state tournament now, you can't get back to one of those top 2 places.
I did not realize that.
Yeah,
so that makes it a little tougher.
If you were at state, you could lose early and get in the wrestlebacks and have a good day or two and still finish 3rd, I believe, in the state. Now you're not going to have that chance, but, in the year of COVID, I think it's just great that we're actually getting to have things.
Sure. Absolutely, especially wrestling, which is probably the sport that, again, I said earlier, there's more contact there. There's more interaction between guys from other teams. So there's a lot, I think the risk is higher there too. So at least from an outside perspective, I think people would say, well, if you can wrestle, you can do lots of things, right? So, I think you're right. Just the opportunity to have the state tournament in whatever format it is, I think everybody should be grateful for that, and so far it's been done without any issues as far as I know. So that's good. So, yes, it will change the way, the outcome might be different if the format were different, but you just deal with it, and it's better than sitting at home, right? It's better
for sure.
Not having anything, right? So
we're talking this morning with Kevin Patton of the Henderson Gleaner. He's the sports writer there. And Kevin, I guess I'll be seeing you up at Owensboro Apollo this Saturday.
Probably. I'll zip over and check out part of that first round action in the state tournament.
All right, we need to get to a break here on the show. We'll be back and talk some more with Kevin right after this here on the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Get into shape and feel good at Trilogy Performance Sports. Trilogy offers a wide range of family-friendly classes as well as personal training, yoga, gymnastics, sports training, cardio, and weightlifting. Trilogy has something for everyone. Trilogy now offers an app with online workouts, live classes, nutrition tracking, and more. Search Trilogy Performance Sports in your app store. Use sign-up code 1824. For app info and more, follow them on Facebook.
Life is filled with moments. Moments we share with those we love, worry about, and strive to protect the most. At Woodman Life, we provide life insurance and retirement products to help protect you and your family so that you can enjoy all the moments to come.
This is Josh Ray, your local Woodman Life agent. Come see us at 1009 West Main Street or give us a call at 365-6111.
Certain eligibility and age restrictions apply. Woodman of the World Life Insurance Society, Omaha, Nebraska.
West Kentucky Real Estate and Auction holds monthly auctions at the Auction Center on U.S. Highway 62 in Princeton, in the former Hancock's grocery store. Be sure to check their website for dates and times and listings of auctions and days at the Auction Center. WestKentuckyRealEstate.com has all of their upcoming auctions listed. If you would like to have an auction or would like to find out how to consign at an auction, contact West Kentucky Real Estate and Auction. Wayne Boyd, broker auctioneer.
Have you been to Big Deal Store yet? Go to WPKYOnline.com and click on Loyal Listener Big Deals. The other day, I redeemed a gift certificate on my smartphone. It was so easy. Thanks to Loyal Listener Big Deals, I found new places to eat, have fun, take the family out, and get my car fixed. With Loyal Listener Big Deals, you can save money and try new businesses. Go to WPKYOnline.com, but you better hurry. You never know how long each deal will last.
We invite you to join us each Sunday morning beginning at 6 and lasting till 1 for uplifting messages from several of our area churches. We may not be able to gather together, but we can share positive and encouraging words during these challenging days. Make plans to come together with us by radio on 1580 103.3 WPKY. You can even listen from our free app or at WPKYOnline.com.
We are back on the Sideline Report here on 1580 103.3 WPKY. Thanks for tuning in this morning. Talley is going to be joining us a little bit later on this morning, but right now we're talking with Kevin Patton, sports writer for the Henderson Gleaner, and talking about a busy time in sports. And we've mentioned wrestling and semi-state coming up for those guys this Saturday. But Kevin, we're still right in the middle of basketball season too.
Absolutely. District tournaments going on this week and regional tournaments next week. So it's lots of fun. Lots of fun for us. It's work. It's a lot of work for us.
Yeah.
Also a lot of fun. When the games, it's just when the games matter, right? So it's always enjoyable to watch teams compete and try to continue their seasons and win. Maybe and get a chance to go to Rep Arena. That's what they're playing for right now. So it's a good time of the year.
Well, as you look around the second region, have things kind of gone the way you thought they would for the girls and the boys?
Girls especially, yeah. I think I think most people really felt like Henderson County was the favorite to repeat as region champions, and they've been dominant there. Webster County probably the team that most people felt like could compete with them, and they had injury issues late in the season. Their record was not very good, but they played a really good schedule. They played most of the top teams in the western part of the state, and then at the end of the season had injury. Probably they had 4 starters out at one time, and played the district first round of the district tournament without 2 starters, including one of which is Reagan Price, who's one of the top players in the region, and then ran into a much improved Union County team and ended up losing 49-44 in the first round game, which on the surface that surprises a lot of people, I'm sure. Having seen those teams several times during the year, I wasn't really shocked, especially with Webster's injury situation. And Union is, I think, the most improved team in the region from last year, and just really, I think, surprised a lot of people. Union probably really doesn't have a lot of balance on that team. Not a great player. I don't think there's a great player on the team. A lot of good players who play hard do what they're supposed to do. And so they ended up getting in the, they're going to be in the regional tournament for the first time since 2014, in the long drought for them, and trying to break through against Henderson and Webster, who've been the top two teams in the region, for pretty much that whole stretch. So it's been a kind of uphill battle for Union County. So I think that's the big surprise probably in the region. Henderson's going to be tough to beat next week. 14-4. You almost like what we talked about the Union wrestling program. Some of that applies to Henderson's girls as well. They dominated the region, and once you start having that success, it's hard to it becomes expected on not only on your part but on your opponent's part, and it's kind of hard for teams to overcome that. But yeah, they're going to be they're solid as always. Sadie Worth is outstanding at point guard. Just really tenacious, hard-nosed player who, does her job and just, she's region player of the year and very deservedly so. Probably Henderson County's had over the last 25 years an abundance of great point guards, and she is as good as any that they've had. So it's, from the girls' standpoint, I think, maybe about what I've expected with Webster kind of being the surprise, Webster and Union kind of being surprises, I guess. You look at Crittenden County. I've not seen Crittenden play, but I think they're the other team that could factor in there. I think they're in the top, they're the top three teams in the region there, along with Union and Henderson. But I think everybody's playing for second place.
Yeah, it looks like it would take a monumental effort to knock off Henderson's girls on that side. But when you look at the boys bracket, I think there's 2 or 3 or maybe 4 teams that have kind of thrown their hand up and said, hey, we would like to be the regional favorite this year.
Absolutely. And you look at, and I think, honestly, going into the region, I think anybody is, you hear this all the time. Well, you can beat anybody on a given night. I think that's really the case in the boys regional. I think, there's going to be some great matchups next week. But yeah, looking from a favorite role, I mean, Lyon County's been the team all year. They've beat pretty much everybody they played. They played a pretty good schedule outside the region. I think they've got to be considered the favorite, just based on what they've done this season, and they're good. That makes a big difference. I've seen them play.
Yeah, that helps too.
I think that helps. They got shooters. They got Jackson Shoulders inside, who's a tough matchup for teams. And they got that good combination. They're fun to watch. I've seen them, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, I think, or 5. Just fun to watch. And they're my favorite going in. But you look at University Heights. Obviously, just played well. They winning the 8th district. They're going to be a threat. I think the team that's going to be under the radar, and why would you ever say they're under the radar? Because they're always a region contender. But I think Henderson County is going to be a team that's going to be hard. If they play like they did have this week, they're going to be hard for somebody to beat. They played their 2 best games of the year, Monday against Union County, and then last night against Webster. And I've said this all year long, they're capable of winning the region title. They've just been inconsistent. If they can put together 3 good games in a row, they're going to be hard to beat. They were outstanding last night. Probably surprised a lot of people by beating Webster by 20 points. Webster just looked flat to me last night and just never really got going. They did manage to. Henderson jumped out to a big lead, and then Webster did get back within 2 right before halftime, and was in good shape at halftime, and Henderson comes back out in the 3rd quarter and jumps on them early, and then just pulls away. And Noah Curry, who's moved back to point guard in the middle of the season, 36 points last night was just, and he had 32 going, and he could have had more if it had been a close game. He probably would have been in the 40s or challenged the gym scoring record, actually, as I had looked up that information, because I was thinking he may be up in the 40s tonight, and I can't remember what the scoring record is at Colonel Jim, but they are, they played well this week. But again, they've been inconsistent. They wouldn't be my favorite going into the regional, but I think they are capable of maybe being the best team in the region next week. You got to look at Madisonville in there, obviously, with, Kel Gaither, probably the best point guard in the region. That's hard to say. It's tough to say because there's some really good guards in the region, but he's, 5-year starter. John Newton maybe finally wins that region title that he's chasing. They're going to be playing on their home floor. I think there's a lot of advantages there. Have not seen Madisonville this year because just scheduling changes and things like that. So I just kind of know what they have. I think they're in that mix. And then you can't count on the Hoptown, who probably their big negative is they haven't played a lot of games.
Yeah, I think Hopkinsville, if this makes any sense, Hopkinsville might be the dark horse this year.
Yeah, I think so. I think them and Henderson both.
Yeah.
I think, and it's like I said, you can't really count them under the radar. Hoptown's the same way. Nobody's going to overlook them. Nobody's going to say, well, it's just Hoptown there. It's just, you get that sometimes with some of the other schools in the region. But, and then, who haven't we mentioned? We haven't mentioned Caldwell County, who's, maybe a team that nobody's really paying attention to, but I think probably capable of beating some teams on a given night. And Crittenden County, who may be sneaky and overlooked a little bit too. That's, they beat a Webster County team by 20 points. Webster's capable, but I wouldn't, even though they have struggled at the end of the year and kind of limped into the postseason, they're a matchup problem for teams with those two big frontline guys in McNaughton and Allen. Braden Nelson was outstanding last night at point guard. I think he had 25. So they're capable of beating some teams and maybe making a run. So I think the boys region is just wide open. Again, I think there's 2 or 3 that probably have to be. I think Lyon and UHA probably up at the top of the list. UHA beat Henderson in a close game at the end of the season. I think they're probably the top. And based on UHA beating Hoptown last night, I think that puts them as right up there at the top in Madisonville. I think that's my top 3, with maybe Hoptown and Henderson kind of the dark horses. But I think either one of those could win it. And then everybody, and Webster maybe 2 in there, maybe now as a dark horse. I think most of the season I consider them one of the favorites. I think they've kind of moved down in that line, but I think they're capable too. Makes it a little tougher for the runners up now that you're going to have to go on the road and play that
that's a big difference
game.
too. Yeah.
I think, and I like it. I like, especially in this situation, I think it's the perfect time to do that, because it's a good way to, you're only going to have fans from the 2 teams anyway. You play all the games in one night. I'm going to say this because I'm a basketball fan. I love going to the regional tournament and just watching basketball without having a team to cover or just not have any rooting interest, just as a basketball fan. But you're not going to be able to do that this year anyway, really. So, it's a good time to do it this way. And it gives you a little more reward for winning your district tournament. So, and I get to cover a game that's basically across the street from my house.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's always good
too. It's always nice. As I found out this week, and I know this from other experiences, but it's nice when you get to the gym and you forgot something. I have time to go back home and go get it and come back. So, it's as I get older, I do that more often. So it's but it's a plus for all the district winners. It makes winning the district more important, and it makes it a little tougher for the runners up, unfortunately. But it's I think it's good. Like I said, it's a good time to do that way. But I think the boys tournament's going to be great. I really do.
Yeah, next week should be a whole lot of fun. Kevin, I appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us this morning.
Absolutely. I appreciate you asking me. It's always good to talk to you, Todd.
That is Kevin Patton, sports writer for the Henderson Gleaner. Again, thanks for the time this morning. We've got more to come on the Sideline Report, though. Stay with us. Talley will be joining us in just a bit here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Brantley Furniture.
From the Weather Edge Weather Center, 40% chance of showers, thunderstorms today with a high temperature up to 56 degrees. Temperature falling to around 35 tonight. Slight chance of showers continuing through the evening hours. Decreasing clouds on Friday with a high 51.
Mostly sunny skies Saturday with a high near 60 degrees. Once again, our forecast today, 40% chance of showers. Today's high near 56 degrees. Currently, we're at 60 degrees. Few scattered showers still lingering around. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies.
Need cash fast? ABC Finance is open with social distancing implementations in place. They believe it's more important now than ever to get a handle on your finances.
Hi, this is Jody Lamb at the Princeton ABC Finance location.
And this is Todd Morris at the Hopkinsville location.
At ABC Finance, we don't just provide loans, but we also provide valuable advice to help you get your credit in better standing.
Our friendly team of professionals has your best interest in mind, and we celebrate with you when your finances improve.
We encourage you to like our Facebook page, ABC Finance Company. Many of those useful tips are posted daily on our page, including tons of community info and motivation for the day.
To view social distancing guidelines and safety measures, like and follow ABC Finance Company on Facebook. ABC Finance is located off Fort Campbell Boulevard in Hopkinsville next to O'Charlie's, then Princeton and the Princeton Plaza. Apply for loans online or simply give them a call. They'll take your application over the phone. ABC Finance, all loans subject to normal credit approval.
Welcome back to the Sideline Report here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Again, thanks to Kevin Patton of the Henderson Gleaner for joining us this morning on the show. Now on the phone with us is Ncaa Talley, LPGA Tour Pro and Princeton Zone. Emma, good morning. Thanks for coming on the show with us.
Thanks for having me, y'all.
All the time. Anytime, you're welcome on the show. The 2021 LPGA season is underway, but are you enjoying some downtime right now, kind of between tournaments?
Yeah, I kind of needed it, both really just for my game. I actually went back. I left my coach in Paducah, as everyone knows, Todd Trimble. I left him about a year and a half ago and started working with a guy that was out on tour. So I went back to him in November. So this has been really good to just kind of get some time with him. I've spent about 12 hours with him in the last week. So a lot of good practice time and just getting ready for the full swing of things to start back up.
Well, are you doing some things with your swing or just trying to hone some things to get ready for the next tournament?
Well, basically, I switched everything around about a year and a half ago, and now I'm going back to where I was, my rookie year and previous to that, college, junior golf. So I'm a bit of a swing change, yeah. So I wasn't quite ready for those first couple tournaments, but I'm super excited for the season. I feel like myself, and I'm finally hitting the ball like I wanted to.
Well, is there any golfer, though, that doesn't tinker with their swing a little bit?
No. If you look at any professional golfer, unfortunately, we all have wandering eyes, and you're out there every single week with the same 150 girls, and you start looking at what other girls are doing and how you can get better. And I made a couple, I don't want to say bad decisions. They were really, they weren't good for my golf game, but I definitely learned something from it. And but a lot of girls do that. Leah Co's done that. Tiger Woods obviously did that, and almost every girl out there goes through it at some point. So I'm glad I got mine done and over with, and I can move on.
Well, what were some things you were kind of trying to make better?
That's a very complicated question.
Okay.
About a year and a half ago, I decided I need to gain distance, which I really did, and I hit the ball about a little bit above average, but I was trying to figure out what the girls who were finishing number one on the money list are doing. So I tried to gain distance, and when I did that, I completely lost my golf swing, and and now I'm obviously trying to just get back to where I was, like I said, my rookie year, and previous to that. I think as a golfer, it's not a reactive sport. You don't react, you think, unfortunately. And so for me, just getting back to the basics and knowing that my chipping and putting is where I can get better. And I'm really, like I said, I'm really excited for the year.
Well, they used to always say you drive for show and putt for dough, but actually getting the ball on down there a little bit is helpful because obviously you can hit a shorter club into the green, which, everybody wants to hit it closer and make more putts.
Yeah, exactly. But you got to be in the fairway. So for me, when I try to gain distance, I started hitting it right and left. So for me, I've figured out what kind of my max is, and you can get stronger and faster, but to change your swing to try to hit it further is definitely not a good idea.
Yeah, I think I've done that before, a couple of 100 times. But like I said, I don't think there's ever a golfer that doesn't tinker with their swing at some point a little bit.
Yes, exactly. That's what we do.
You've got the Ncaa Classic coming up next week in California. What's your thoughts on that, and what's kind of your itinerary for that event?
Yeah, super excited for that event. It's a beautiful place. San Diego is just so pretty, and the golf course is really pretty. The weather's gonna be great. Sometimes we get cold weather out there, but a little bit later in the year this year. So the weather's gonna be perfect, and I leave to go there on Sunday. So just practice on Monday. Actually, I have a photo shoot with Callaway on Monday, and then practice on Tuesday, and Wednesday practice, and then tee it up on Thursday, and hopefully have a good week.
You mentioned just a couple of events into the 2021 season, and of course, your tour status is still the same as last season, right?
Yes. So unfortunately, last year didn't count, which is kind of a bummer for the people who had a rough 2019, which I did. So last year didn't do anything for me, unfortunately. I actually had a pretty good year last year. But you just take that mojo and you keep going. Like I felt really good about my game last year, and I feel really good about it now. So you just keep going and take that energy into this year.
Now, is there a simple way to explain your tour status and how you qualify for events each week on the LPGA Tour, or how do you keep up with all that?
It is really complicated, but basically at the end of the year, the top 100 keep their card. There are reshuffles during the year. And because in 2019 I lost my card, I got it back at Q School, but everyone has a priority number, and we have 144 girls in each tournament, roughly. I think my priority number is 134, so obviously I would like to better that in the next few weeks. The first reshuffle is not for a while, and because I played well last year, I'm in our first major, which is right after Ncaa and Ncaa in Palm Springs, California. So yeah, it's kind of complicated. Even I don't even know all the ins and outs of it. I just know if I play well, I'm fine.
Yeah, I've tried to figure that out, and I just try to look each week to see if you're on the list of competitors for that event.
Yeah, it doesn't switch week to week really if you have full status, which I do. So if you have full status, then you really don't. You always want to better your status, but you're not just going to lose it during the year, if that makes sense.
Now, with the tournament underway or the tour back on schedule this season, is COVID still a big issue on tour, or how are you handling that this year?
Yeah, it's really rough. It's actually really, really strict. We get tested twice a week, and as many people, especially in Princeton, that I've noticed are kind of getting back to normal as far as the way they live. And unfortunately, I just can't do that. I did get to go to the basketball game and watch our Tigers, our guys win their first game, and they played a great game on their second. But I actually sat on the floor downstairs for the most part because I've just got to be really careful. That's the first normal thing I've done in about a year. So, Patrick and I, we have to be really careful because they don't care if you have the vaccine. If you have COVID, you test positive, you're out for 2 weeks, and I don't get paid. Just, most jobs you get paid if you're sick. I don't get that luxury. So I've got to be really careful and until hopefully things die down. But we're not allowed to go out to restaurants. We aren't allowed to sit outside to eat. Just golf course, hotel. Not allowed to stay with people anymore. It's very strict, and there's fines for if you break the rules and you get caught, you get a big fine. So it's really strict, and so I haven't done much. I haven't seen my family, my siblings for a while. So just the price I paid to be a professional golfer in this day and age.
Well, I know even last year when you were having like the youth tournaments or the youth clinics and things like that, you were always careful to have a mask on and try to still be friendly with everybody, but at the same time keep your distance.
Yeah, I wear a mask everywhere I go, even if even if it seems crazy, I wear a mask, even sometimes outside. When I take lessons from Todd, we're outside, in a bay, but, there's air going in and out, but I wear a mask. So I pretty much wear a mask everywhere I go now. It's just I've gotten used to it. I don't even notice it anymore. And when we fly and stuff, obviously we have to wear a mask too. So I pretty much have gotten used to it, and it's good. I mean, I'm keeping everyone around me safe, and also making sure I get to play week in, week out.
We're talking this morning with Ncaa Talley. Need to get to a break here on the show, though. Back with more with Ncaa after this here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Bella Marie Boutique.
From the Weather Edge Weather Center, 40% chance of showers, thunderstorms today with a high temperature up to 56 degrees. Temperature falling to around 35 tonight. Slight chance of showers continuing through the evening hours. Decreasing clouds on Friday with a high 51. Mostly sunny skies Saturday with a high near 60 degrees. Once again, our forecast today, 40% chance of showers. Today's high near 56 degrees. Currently, we're at 60 degrees. Few scattered showers still lingering around. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies.
There's no doubt winter is here. If you're tired of being stuck at home because of bad weather, maybe it's time to make sure that you have a vehicle that can handle what Mother Nature dishes out. Your home team at Trice Hughes can help you do just that. Check with the home team at Trice Hughes. They'll make sure you drive off with a vehicle that'll meet your needs.
Buy your next vehicle from the home team. Find them on Highway 91 North, Princeton, or at tricehughes.com.
Caldwell County is a special place in western Kentucky, featuring beautiful tracts of land. Even though the real estate market is always in a constant state of change, Bollinger Real Estate and Auction understands this and is ready to work for you.
Hi, my name is Ben Bollinger with Bollinger Real Estate and Auction. Whether it's a property valuation or time to sell, Bollinger's team is dedicated to work for you. Real estate solutions with a passion for people.
This is the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Thanks for joining us this morning. Talking with Ncaa Talley on the phone this morning. Ncaa just underway on the LPGA Tour this season. And Ncaa, I saw Catherine Brown a couple of weeks ago, and I asked her when she was going to play again. And she told me she was playing next month in the Ncaa Talley, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, she's actually playing this weekend. She decided to play a tournament in Louisville. But, yeah, they have a tournament now, and Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's, I think, their first event on the KGA Tour, and that's their state championship course, obviously. So, yeah, pretty cool that they asked me to be a part of that. I'm not going to be in town for it, unfortunately, but very cool to kind of I never would have thought if you had asked me 10 years ago that a tournament would be named after me. I would have never guessed that. So, yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, how did that all come about with the Ncaa Talley girls tradition?
There's actually a company out of North Carolina that they're trying to make girls golf. There's a company called Girls Golf, and they're trying to make more tournaments for junior players. So a lot of LPGA players in their home state, they're trying to get together a tournament in not, I want to say my honor, but in my name. So, yeah, it was when they called me and asked me if I would be interested, that was definitely, I've always wanted to give back, and this is just one way in doing that.
And that will be at Bowling Green Country Club, and I think you're a little familiar with that course.
Yeah, it's a great golf course, and I think in another month the weather will be great. So I'm super excited to see how it turns out. I know a lot of girls around Western Kentucky are going to be playing, so I think, like I said, I think it's pretty much the first tournament on the schedule for Kentucky girls. So super exciting and super honored that they asked me to do that.
Yeah, that'll be a big youth event. Now, when you go into the LPGA Tour each year, do you kind of have goals or anything in mind when the season starts, or are you just trying to play the best you can each week?
I used to always have goals, and I still have goals in the back of my mind for sure, but I actually work with a sports psychologist, and yeah, I think for me right now where I am, I really just want to play well week in, week out, and give myself the best opportunities to play well. And for me, making sure I'm prepared properly and rested and working out and doing everything that I need to do to play well. So for me, I'm just trying to play one shot at a time. That's really the biggest thing for me this year, is not get too far ahead of myself or look behind myself. Really just live where my feet are and commit to every shot and really. I actually struggle with focusing, so just focusing on every shot. So that's really what I'm trying to do this year, and not put so much pressure on myself to perform.
You talked earlier about watching some of the other players on tour and maybe trying to pick up a few things. Who are some of the players you kind of like to keep an eye on? Do you watch a whole lot of golf when you're not playing?
No, not at all. I mean, we're all best friends, so most of the time it's just me communicating with other girls, what they're doing, what they're thinking, what they're working on. I think most people know Allie Mcdonald's one of my good friends. We were on the Curtis Cup together. She played at Mississippi State. She won her first event last year. And then one of my friends, Lindsay Weaver, she actually lost her card in 2019 as well, but she's played really well since then. So for me, I don't want to look at other people at all. Golf is a one-man sport. So, through my stats and through the statistics that I take each week on myself is really what's important, and getting better and making sure you get better every single day and not kind of getting a slump like I was in for about a year of looking at other players too often.
You mentioned earlier also about having an event coming up with one of your sponsors. How much of your time does that take up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very blessed. I have several sponsors now. I think 5 or 6 to be honest. But I'm very lucky. There's a lot of girls that struggle to have sponsors, and I'm very blessed that I've been able to get sponsors and make them happy. And yeah, it takes a little bit of time up, but they're allowing me to live out my dream and support me on this journey. So basically social media posts and pro-am days or clinics or really whatever they would like me to do. So yeah, obviously it takes up some time, but it's worth the time because they are letting me live out my dream and supporting me on this journey.
As far as the youth clinics go, is that something you're going to try to do around here again this year, or was that last year because you had some extra time because of COVID?
Yeah, I haven't been in contact at all with the club yet about that, but I would love to do something. I'm not in town quite as much this year as I was last year. Obviously, with COVID, we only played half our season last year. So pretty much I think we have 20 tournaments in a row on the schedule right now. So it's going to be a little bit different of a year. But hopefully we do get to do that. It was a great opportunity to actually meet a lot of people. And there were a lot of kids that actually came, which was very exciting.
Changing gears just a little bit here, the NCAA basketball tournament starts today. I think the University of Alabama is a number 2 seed. Is this the Crimson Tide's year?
I know. I'm really excited. We have the games on all the time, and they've played so well in the SEC tournament. So I'm super excited to see them play, and I'll be rooting them on for sure. I don't know any of the – I'm too old now. I don't know any of the players anymore, but yeah, that was awesome. I'm super excited. And obviously basketball, we're not usually high up in basketball, so it's going to be super exciting.
Well, and your time at the University of Alabama, that had to be super. I mean, you won an NCAA individual championship, and we're on some really good teams down there too.
Yeah, when I was there, 12 different teams or individuals won a national championship. My roommate and I actually won the national championship on the same day. So she won back-to-back national championships in tennis, and I won it, obviously, the one year. So such a cool environment. I had never been to a place where you go and everyone there wants to be successful, and Alabama was so cool in that aspect because everybody there wanted to be successful, and the majority of the people at least gave it a go in pro athletics, which is pretty cool. So yeah, such a cool place. I loved it so much. I would go back if they would let me go right now. It was so fun, and I'm glad my dad always encouraged me to go to school and stay for the 4 years because it was definitely worth it.
Well, you've got a big event coming up next week out in California. How does that course kind of set up for you, and is that something you really look at going into a tournament each week?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but the setup each week is pretty much the same. I mean, obviously the courses are different. So this course is pretty soft. Actually, the greens are firm, but the fairways are pretty soft. So, yeah, I like the golf course a lot. The greens are posed, so later in the day the greens do get bumpy, which is kind of frustrating. But if you have a good attitude about it, usually you come out pretty strong. So, like I said, I feel really good about my game, and I'm excited for next week. And obviously, our first major of the year is the week after next week. So I'm really excited for the next 2 weeks and try to play well and commit to one shot at a time.
Well, best of luck in those events coming up, and we'll be pulling for you. As always, thanks for coming on the show and spending some time with us this morning.
No problem. Thank you so much.
That is Ncaa Talley, LPGA Tour Pro, and like I said, Caldwell County High School grad and one of Princeton's own. We appreciate her coming on the show and spending some time with us this morning. Also, thanks to Kevin Patton from the Henderson Gleaner for coming on the show and talking some wrestling and basketball with us. Coming up here on WPKY tonight, we will have basketball action. The Caldwell County Lady Tigers take on Madisonville North Hopkins about 7:30 in the girls' 7th District Tournament. Pre-game coverage here on WPKY tonight begins about 7 o'clock. You can listen to the game on 1580 AM, 103.3 FM, and on the WPKY app as well. We will also have live free video available of the Caldwell game tonight at WPKYonline.com. First game tonight is Hopkins County Central and Dawson Springs out at the Cab. That's at 5:30. Again, the Lady Tigers and the Lady Maroons of Madisonville playing the nightcap tonight about 7:30. Tonight's winners advance to the district championship game Friday at 6 o'clock at the Cab. And even more importantly, tonight's winners earn a place in the second region tournament next week. That's going to wrap us up here on the Sideline Report for this Thursday morning. Thanks a lot for joining us. This is Todd Griffin on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
WPKY, Princeton.
Fox News. I'm Chris Foster. Secretary of State Antony Blinken meets with his Chinese counterpart today at a summit in Anchorage, Alaska.
Speaking in Seoul, South Korea, Blinken stressed China's role in convincing North Korea to give up its nuclear weapons.
I would hope that whatever happens going forward, China will use that influence effectively.
Both sides are setting low expectations for today's meeting. A senior U.S. official calls it a chance to take stock.
Fox's Simon Owen. New unemployment claims are up, according to the weekly report released by the Labor Department this morning.
The estimate for initial claims was 700,000. We came in at 770,000, so this, unfortunately, is